What we want to do, we want to get our equation, and we want to make it look exactly like the standard form of the equation of a circle. If we concentrate on the variable of x, notice that that's the standard form after completing the square. And if we concentrate on the variable of y, notice that that's also the standard form after completing the square. So now we have a strategy to get our equation and make it look like the equation of a circle. To start the process of completing the square, let's place all the variables on the left and all the constants on the right. On the left-hand side of the equation, we only have terms with variables on it, so that is good. But notice that this value of 10y, it's on the right-hand side and also has a variable. We need to move it to the left-hand side to have all variables on the left. We're going to accomplish that by subtracting 10y on both sides. And we are done. Just notice that on the left-hand side of the equation, every single term has a variable on it, and on the right-hand side, we left the constant. We need to organize the left-hand side. We're going to look at all those terms that have an x on it, and we're going to write them next to each other. And those terms that have a y on it, we're going to write them next to each other. The right-hand side, let's just bring that down. So this is good, because now we have all the x's next to each other in standard form, from highest exponent to lowest exponent, and we have all the y's next to each other in standard form, from highest exponent to lowest exponent. Let's continue by completing the square only on the variable of x. Let's get the value that is in front of x, which is positive 2, and let's do two operations to it. Let's divide it by 2, and the result of 1, let's square that. Let's leave that number to the side. We're going to use it in a second. Now let's complete the square on the variable of y. Let's get the value that is in front of y, which is negative 10. And let's do two operations to it. Let's divide it by 2, which is negative 5. And now let's square the result, which is going to give us 25. Now let's use the results that we just got. This value of 1, let's add it right after the variable of x's. That will help us complete the square on the variable of x. And this value of 25, let's add it right after the terms of y's. That's going to help us complete the square on the y variable. On the right-hand side, we still got 55. But to balance the equation, because we added 1 on the left, we should do the same on the right. And because we added 25 on the left, we should do that on the right-hand side as well. Notice that if we just consider the first 3 terms in our equation, we can factor that out. We are looking for 2 numbers that if we multiply, it gave us positive 1. And if we add them up, it will give us the value of 2. Notice that those numbers are 1 and 1, which is the value that we squared when we were completing the square for x. So now this expression, we can write it out as x plus 1 times x plus 1, which is the same as x plus 1 squared. And now if we consider the next 3 terms, notice that we can factor this out as well, because we're looking for 2 numbers that if we multiply, it will give us a value of 25. And those 2 same numbers, it will give us a value of negative 10. And notice that those numbers are negative 5 and negative 5, which is the value that we square when we were completing the square for y. So those 3 terms can be factored out as y minus 5 times y minus 5, which notice that is the same as y minus 5 squared. And now let's simplify the right-hand side. That's equivalent to 81. So now notice that the result that we got here, it looks a lot like the standard equation of a circle. We just need to make some minor adjustments. Notice that when it comes to the variable of x's, we are subtracting x minus a value, and in our result, we are adding. So to fix that, instead of writing plus 1, we're going to write that down as subtraction of -1. And when it comes to the variable of y, we are subtracting a value. There's nothing to fix here. We are already subtracting. And the right-hand side of the equation, we need to write it out as a number raised to the second. In this case, we get the result of 81. But notice that 81 is 9 to the second. So instead of writing 81, we're going to write down 9 to the second. So we are done. We have written the equation of a circle in standard form. Now to identify the center of the circle, we need to identify the values of h and the values of k. And in our equation, h has a value of -1 and k has a value of +5. So we got a center at -1, +5. And now the radius is the number that we are squaring on the right-hand side of the equation, which in this case, it is of a value of 9.
Hello. If you would like to continue learning about mathematics, you can check out the videos on the left.